All right, good day, everyone. Welcome to our discussion on Chapter 3, Varieties and Registers in English. In this lesson, we will explore how English, being a global language, changes and adapts depending on where, how, and by whom it's used. So, by the end of this discussion, you will understand not only the different types of English spoken around the world, but also how language varies across social classes, situations, and professions. So, here's the content of our discussion. First, diversity in culture, language, and communication. And the second one, registers in English. So let's begin with communication. Today, communication is global and borderless. So thanks to globalization and technology, because people from different countries can easily connect, whether through business, education, or social media. And what language connects them most? English, because English is considered the world's lingua franca, a common language used by people who do not share the same native tongue, and it has many varieties with different accents and pronunciations. Because of this, English has become the main or secondary language of many international organizations and global industries. It is used as a medium of connection among people with different native languages, allowing them to collaborate, exchange ideas, and conduct international affairs smoothly. For example, in organizations like United Nations, World Health Organization, and ASEAN, English is one of the official working languages. This helps representatives from various countries understand one another during meetings, reports, and global conferences. In the world of trade and business, English serves as the universal language of commerce. Companies use English to communicate with clients, suppliers, and partners abroad, whether it's writing emails, presenting proposals, or negotiating contracts. English ensures that business transactions run clearly and professionally. Even large multinational corporations like Google, Microsoft, and Toyota use English as their corporate communication language, especially in their international branches. This makes teamwork and collaboration easier despite cultural or linguistic differences. It is also widely used in social media, where most global posts, comments, and discussions are written in English. Platforms like Facebook, Instagram, X, or formerly known as Twitter, YouTube, and TikTok use English as their main medium for reaching a worldwide audience. Because of this, English has become a powerful tool for sharing information, expressing opinions, and building online communities that cross national and cultural boundaries. Whether it's a viral post, a vlog, or an academic discussion, using English helps content reach more people and spark global conversations. In tourisms, in tourism and international conferences, English serves as a bridge language for travelers, professionals, and scholars from around the world. Tour guide, on the other hand, hotel staff and travelers often rely on English to communicate effectively. In conferences and academic gatherings, English allows participants from different countries to present research, share innovations, and exchange ideas without the bar of translation. Because of all this, English has truly become the language of connection, used not only for business or education, but also for culture, media, and human interaction. Now, even though English is spoken around the world, it's not spoken in exactly the same way because each region and culture adds its own accent, vocabulary, and grammar style, which makes English richer, more diverse, and more colorful. So let's take a look at some regional varieties of English. Um, First, British English. Okay, British English, this is the traditional form of English, and it's often used as a model in many countries. It has a non-rhotic accent, meaning the R sound at the end of words is not pronounced. For example, a bottle of water might sound like a bottle of water or a bowl of water. It also uses British spelling like color and center. For American English, on the other hand, has a rhotic accent. So the R sound is clearly pronounced. For example, um, um, uh, yung bottle of water. It also uses simplified spelling. For example, color instead of color, center instead of center. Because of Hollywood, media, and technology, American English has a strong global influence. For Australian English, it is non-rhotic like British English, but it has many unique slang terms. For example, some Australians might say it's stinking hot outside, mate. Their vocabulary and expressions reflect their laid-back culture. For Indian English, it was influenced by British colonization. It has unique vocabulary and a more direct style of expression. For example, some Indians might say, I graduated instead of saying I graduated from college, some Indians might say, I passed out of college in 2020. Okay, so next, Philippine English, which is a mix of American English and local Filipino expressions. We might say open the light instead of turn on the light, or use comfort room instead of restroom. So these are part of what makes Philippine English distinct and recognized globally. And for Singaporean English or Singlish, okay, it combines English, Malay, and Chinese influences. Um, it it's non-rhotic and known for expressions like "Hello la," "Long time never see you," or "You going where?" It's a casual and expressive, which is a part of Singapore's multicultural identity. For Korean English, okay, it has own pronunciation. I mean pronunciation style because Korean lacks certain English sounds like F and V. So the word five might sound like haibu. They might also use direct translation like di lunch etu, meaning did you eat lunch? So these differences show how local languages affect English pronunciation and usage. So next we have a chart here shows the different um, term or different translation to a specific thing. Okay. The word elevator for American is elevator. For British and New Zealand and Canadian, it's lift. And in the Philippines, it's also elevator. Singaporean, lift. Korean, elevator. And for the word apartment, for American English, it's apartment. For British, New Zealand, and Canadian, it's flat. And for Philippine English, it is apartment. And for Singaporean, it could be flat or apartment. And for Korean, it's apatu. Okay. And the last one, the last example, the word center. In American, it's center. For British, New Zealand, and Canadian, it's center. For Philippines, it's center. Okay. And for Singaporean, it's also center. And for Korean, it could be um, either center or center. Next, let's move from regional varieties to what we call societal varieties of English. While regional varieties focus on where English is spoken, societal varieties focus on who is speaking and in what kind of social context. These are differences in the way English is used across social classes, genders, and age groups. Language reflects not only our identity, but also our position, background, and the situations we move in. Let's begin with the upper class variety. This group often uses clear pronunciation, complete sentences, and grammatically correct language. Their speech tends to sound formal, polite, and prestigious, and people from upper social classes or those in professional or elite environments usually prefer to use what we call standard English, which avoiding slang or regional accents when in formal settings. This kind of speech is often heard among diplomats, executives, educators, and, of course, professionals in formal occasions such as meetings, interviews, or ceremonies. It's considered a mark of refinement and education. For example, the praise, "Good afternoon, how do you do?" Here, the speaker is being courteous, composed, and respectful, showing how language reflects not just what we say, but uh, but also how we want to be perceived in society. Next, let's talk about the middle class variety. People in the middle class usually speak standard English, but they are more flexible in their language use. They can easily shift between formal and informal style, depending on the situation or the people they are talking to. For example, when speaking with a superior or during a presentation, they might choose more structured and polite language. But when talking with friends or coworkers, they become more relaxed and conversational. So, this ability to adjust speech according to context is called code switching. And it reflects social awareness and adaptability. It shows that language is not fixed, it changes depending on the roles we play in different situations. For instance, a middle class professional might greet someone formally with "Good morning, ma'am. How are you today?" But in casual settings, the same person may simply say, "Hello, how are you?" Their speech is clear, balanced, and practical, neither too formal nor too casual. And this variety represents the majority of educated speakers who use English for both personal and professional communication. Now let's move on to the working class variety. The working class variety of English is generally more casual and expressive. It often includes the use of slang, idiomatic expressions, and sometimes non-standard grammar structures, such as double negatives. For example, the word mate means friend, granny for grandmother, or sentences like "I ain't doing nothing and we don't need to help." We don't need no help. Although these expressions might not follow the strict rules of grammar, they are still meaningful and widely understood within their communities. This shows us that language is not just about correctness, it's also about identity and belonging. People in the working class often use this kind of English to express familiarity, solidarity, and comfort with others who share the same background. It creates a sense of connection, showing that language can build community just as much it can mark social difference. We can also notice that working class English tends to sound more direct and, and spontaneous, reflecting the everyday experiences of ordinary people. It's warm, lively, and authentic, proof that no matter what form English takes, it serves its main purpose to help people connect and understand one another. Aside from social class, language also changes based on gender and age. Some research in social linguistics shows that men and women often use language differently, not because one way is better than other, but because language reflects the different social roles, expectations, and communication styles shaped by culture. For example, women tend to use language that is more polite, emotional, and expressive. They often include tag questions or softeners in their speech, which are the words and phrases that that makes statements sounds gentler or more inviting. Examples are, for example, the phrase, "Could you please help me with this? I'm so glad this happened." These expressions show empathy, warmth, and cooperation, which are the qualities that are often encouraged in female communication style. Meanwhile, men usually speak in a way that is more direct, assertive, and straightforward. Their sentences are often shorter and more to the point, focusing on clarity and authority rather than emotional tone. For example, "Help me with this. I'm happy." This difference doesn't mean that the one gender speaks better than the other. It simply shows that language is shaped by social norms and personality. Age also plays a big role in how people use English. Older generations usually prepare a more formal and traditional style of speaking, which reflecting the norms of their time. They tend to use complete sentences, polite forms, and avoid slangs. On the other hand, younger speakers or younger ones use more informal, creative, and digital forms of expressions. They more likely to use slang, abbreviations, and internet language such as LOL, OMG, and TBH. So, social media and technology have influenced how young people communicate, blending spoken and written English in new and exciting ways. These differences reminds us that language is constantly evolving. It adapts not only to place and class, but also to gender, age, and cultural trends, proving once again that English is a living and dynamic language that grows with its speakers. Now let's talk about registers, or the different ways we use language depending on the situation. A registers a register refers to the level of formality or style of language we choose when speaking or writing. We adjust our register naturally based on who we are talking to, what we are talking about, and where the communication is taking place. Let's begin with the formal register. The formal register is used in serious, professional, or official situations where respect, clarity, and structure are very important. This type of language avoids constructions, slangs, or casual expressions. Instead, it uses complete sentences, polite vocabulary, and proper grammar to show courtesy and professionalism. You will often hear the formal register in public speeches, academic presentations, business meetings, official letters, and ceremonial events. It helps the speaker maintain a respectful tone and create a good impression. For example, "I would like to express my gratitude for your support." This sentence is complete, polite, and thoughtfully structured. So it reflects not only good manners but also the speaker's awareness of the situation. Formal English is especially important when addressing people in authority, writing professional emails, or delivering a speech in front of an audience. It shows that the speaker understands the social expectations of respect and propriety. In short, the formal register helps us communicate with dignity and precision, showing that we can adjust our language to, to suit professional and serious contexts. Next, let's talk about the informal register. The informal register is used in casual, friendly, and everyday conversations. It's the it's the kind of English we use when talking to friends, classmates, family members, or people we know well. Unlike the formal register, um, informal language is relaxed, spontaneous, and conversational. It often it often includes contractions, shortened expressions, slang, and even emotional tones that make the conversation sounds natural and comfortable. For example, the sentence "Thanks a lot for helping me out." This sentence feels friendly and warm. It's something we might say in a casual chat or message. Notice that instead of saying thank you very much for assistance, which sounds formal, the informal version feels lighter and more personal. We use informal language when we want to sound approachable and and sounds and true or genuine, especially in daily life situations like chatting online, hanging out with friends, or sending messages or text messages to be specific. The informal register allows speaker to express emotion, humor, and personality more freely. It also helps build closeness and comfort between people. However, it is important to remember that context matters. Okay? Informal language is not appropriate in every setting. Knowing when to switch from formal to informal is a valuable communication skill because it shows that we can adjust our tone depending on the audience and purpose. So, meaning to say, wait, wait. So yeah, so meaning to say, the informal register helps us connect with others on a personal level because it's warm, expressive, and perfectly suited for friendly communication. Next, um, and finally, let's talk about the technical register. The technical register um, is used among experts, professional, or specialists in a particular field. It involves language that contains specific terms, jargon, or expressions understood mainly by people with that profession or area of study. For example, teachers or educators might say the curriculum emphasizes competency-based approach to instruction. To someone outside the education field, that might sound complex, but to teachers, this sentence makes perfect sense because it uses technical vocabulary related to, of course, teaching and curriculum design. Similarly, each profession has its own technical language or jargon. In medicine, a doctor might say, the patient is uh, the patient is in remission. And then another one, technology. Okay, in technology, a programmer might say, we need to debug the source code. And then for another one, for business, a manager might say, we will conduct a SWOT analysis for the for the new project. Okay, so this example shows that technical language is not used to sound complicated. It's meant to communicate precisely and efficiently within a specialized field. So the technical register helps professionals exchange ideas clearly without misunderstanding. It reflects expertise, accuracy, and of course, credibility. However, it's also important to remember that technical terms should be adjusted when talking to non-experts. Because a good communicator knows when to simplify complex language so that everyone can understand. And then, okay, so to summarize our discussion, so English is a global language that connects people worldwide, and it has many regional and societal varieties, which each reflecting culture, identity, and social background. And we adjust our language depending on the situation or register, such as formal, informal, or technical. So these differences don't make one form better than another because they simply show that language is alive, flexible, and shaped by people. Okay, and that's the end of our discussion on varieties and registers in English. And always remember, no matter how English is spoken, whether British, American, Filipino, or otherwise, what matters is that it connects people and culture. Okay, so that's all. Thank you for listening. See you in our next lecture.